Hey everybody, good afternoon. I hope you guys had a great holiday long weekend, and hopefully you can either tune in now or you can catch the replay later. As usual, grab something to write with. We're going to cover some ground today, and comment below if you show up. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and again, I'll get back to you a little bit later on those. So today is week 5 of 7 on this whole sound relationship house through a trauma lens. And today I'm going to first talk about the two kinds of conflict and then focus on the importance of a soft startup to uncover what's beneath the conflict, looking for buried or ignored dreams when dealing with perpetual problems that become gridlocked. Of course, I'm going to add the trauma lens and help those that need a deeper understanding of this, if they have a trauma history or if they're in relationship with someone who has a trauma history. So let's go ahead and jump in. Gottman found there are two types of conflict: those that are solvable and those that are perpetual. 69% of relationship conflict is about perpetual problems, and all couples have them. These problems are grounded in the fundamental differences that any two people face in a relationship. This can be differences in your personality that repeatedly create conflict, or differences in your lifestyle needs. No matter which type, a key conflict management tool is what is called soft startup. And why is this so important? So, in his research, Gottman found that he could observe couples for just 3 minutes and could determine which couples would successfully work through conflict and those that wouldn't. And how he did that was looking at soft versus harsh startup to conversations. It was all about how couples initially approached the conflict that made the difference. It wasn't really the conflict in and of itself. So there are 7 ways to soften your startup. 1, to take responsibility, focusing on your part in something. 2, complain without blame and state a positive need. 3, start with I instead of you, using those I statements. It helps ward off defensiveness. 4, describe what is happening, the situation or the event. 5, be polite and respectful. 6, be appreciative. And 7, don't let things build up. So here's the simplified formula I give to my clients. And I think I talked about this a little bit in an earlier video, but I think it's worth repeating here. So the simplified formula is: I feel about what, which is the situation or event that's going on or happened, and I need, want, or prefer, which states exactly what you want to be different. So let's be honest, you can use this formula in any relationship where there's conflict: a friend, a boss, your child, your partner. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. So first, let's talk just for a brief moment on solvable problems. A solvable problem within a relationship is about something more situational. The conflict is simply about that particular topic or situation, and typically there's not a deeper meaning behind the position that a partner is taking. A solution can be found and it can be maintained. An example of a solvable problem might simply just be stating, I don't want to go hiking this weekend. Of course, what might be a solvable problem for one couple may be a perpetual problem for another. It really depends on whether or not there's a deeper meaning there behind the request or conflict. So this may sound strange, but finding a solution to a perpetual problem is not as important as whether or not couples simply talk about them. If they can't talk about it, the conflict becomes what Gottman refers to as a gridlocked perpetual problem. This is the key area that I want to address today. What gets in the way of couples talking? This is when I like to bring out the trauma lens when I'm assessing or working with a couple and explore what past issue may be what I call running the show. We've talked about how important it is to turn toward, to self soothe or soothe a partner, or even repair when things start out harsh. When someone is flooded or triggered, being more curious and compassionate about the reactivity. Those tools provide the safety net that all couples need, especially those where someone has a trauma history. Gridlocked conflict is stressful by nature. If you feel like you're becoming flooded with emotion or incapable of productive conversation, take a break, either alone or with your partner. There is no rush, and resolving conflict respectfully and effectively is the goal, even if it takes some time. If your heart rate exceeds 100 beats per minute, you won't be able to hear what your spouse is trying to tell you, no matter how hard you try, because that thinking part of our brain goes offline when we're flooded. So let's dig in more around gridlock and how to overcome it. There are 3 steps I want to share with you today. So, the first step in overcoming gridlock is talking with your partner about each other's hopes, dreams, and goals. And I know that may sound weird to say we're in conflict and you want us to talk about our hopes and dreams. Ellie Lasista, a former staff writer for Gottman Institute, encourages couples to be what she calls dream detectives. Allow yourself to contemplate, I can't get that out today, dreams you may have buried or ignored within the gridlocked issue. This will help you to understand how these dreams or desires are not being addressed in your relationship and how it can fuel conflict. The second step is to explain your position to your partner, using maybe the formula I did before as a little bit of a guide to how to do this. If it's too hard verbally, write it out beforehand, focusing on what the two of you need or want related to an area of disagreement. Come to an understanding of the dreams that you and your partner have within the conflict, digging deeper than the surface problem. Try to give each other time, asking each other questions that reflect a desire to understand. And the third step is to accept that some problems are unsolvable. This one's a tough one. Unfortunately, it is practically impossible to entirely solve or resolve gridlock conflict, at least immediately. The purpose is not to solve the conflict. Perpetual problems never go away completely. You want to remove the pain they can cause so partners do not turn away and stop trying. Here are a few steps that you can take to arrive at a temporary peace settlement or compromise when these gridlocked issues come up. Define the minimal core areas that you cannot yield on. And I'm going to give you an example here later, and I'll flesh that out a little bit more. Identify any areas that you can yield on, areas of flexibility. Devise a temporary compromise that honors both of your dreams. So here's my example. This is a camping example from a couple I worked with. He wanted to go tent camping, and she wanted to rent a cabin to camp. Both blamed the other's inflexibility as a reason they never went camping. They were stuck, angry, and hurt. In session, it became clear that the husband had a long time dream of camping as a family, which he felt was being ignored. With support, she was able to identify past trauma that led to a safety concern with tent camping. She felt safer in a cabin. And that was her core issue that she couldn't yield on, this sense of safety. With that understanding, her husband was able to see the need for safety rather than her inflexibility and agreed to try renting a cabin together as a family. She softened her stance, and at that point, she began to explore more around his dream and worked to include other pieces of that dream in their trip. Cooking over a fire, making s'mores, for example. Why was this important to him? His father was absent due to long work hours, and due to other younger siblings, his mother often did not attend his activities. They rarely did things together as a family. He loved the outdoors, and his dream was to share that with his family. So that was something that once they discovered what her core need was and his dream, they were able to work towards a compromise. Dreams make life worth living. Couples helping each other realize dreams enhances their connection. So many of us have lost touch with our dreams because life gets in the way. Some with a trauma history stopped dreaming long ago or altogether due to survival mode, where safety needs were so significant that dreams became irrelevant. Trauma work is important. Healing frees up the ability for survivors to reconnect with their own ignored or buried dreams and communicate them more effectively to their partner. It also helps them not take things so personally so that they can be what's called a dream catcher when they're in listening mode to really catch those dreams of their partner. So, the hard truth is that 1 out of 2 couples end in divorce. Well, dang, Bonnie, you go from dreaming to divorce in one sentence. Yes, yes, I did. Couples who are demanding of their marriage are more likely to have deep, satisfying ones. What do I mean by demanding? They push for connection and growth rather than lowering their expectations and eventually turning away, disengaging, and then even divorcing. So keep pushing, keep demanding, keep talking and turning towards one another. And when I mean demanding, I'm not asking you for you to bring in the 4 horsemen, but keep demanding that connection, working for it. So, your challenge this week, be curious about your own hopes and dreams, explore your partners, keep working on perpetual conflicts using the information I've shared today, and finally, get help if you are stuck. Get help before those gridlocked issues really start to erode the relationship, where the pain becomes bigger than the desire to work on it. All couples, remember, all couples have these issues. I hope you guys have a good week. Next week is going to be week 6, and it's going to be more about dreams. So I hope you guys will tune back in, leave comments below, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.